welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. So happy to have you. It has been a hot minute. Your girl has been very busy, but today I thought since I had a little extra time on my hands, I would play in some makeup. I haven't done a makeup tutorial kind of like in depth for a long time, so I thought this would be the perfect video to come back and film. So with that being said, I am going to be kind of recreating my take on the Victoria's Secret Angel makeup. I've been wanting to do this look for the past couple of weeks because it feels very similar to how I typically do my makeup these days. If you want to see me play in some makeup, then keep on watching. I already put primer on. I use the Maybelline Master Prime, which is an amazing dupe for the Smashbox original primer. Left off with doing kind of like my all over glow. I started out with the True Match Gloomy Glotion in Light Glow. I feel like it's not glowy enough, so I'm gonna go in with another glow enhancer I love. This is the Say Glowy Super Gel. And then so this is in the shade Star Glow. It's just really beautiful champagne gold. Take a little bit off my hand and put some all over my face, down my neck. Just really blend that into my skin. I think the key to their makeup was a really good full coverage foundation. So I'm gonna go in with this new one I recently got. This is the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. I wear the shade Fair Neutral. So I'm gonna put a little bit on the back of my hand, like so. Then go in with my sponge, pat that all in. It's weird because I really don't wear as much makeup like day in and day out as I used to, especially not foundation. I really just save that for work primarily. I think I put a little too much on my forehead, but once it blends out, it's gonna be fine. And then I'm gonna put some on my neck for good measure. Just keep that all blended in. A little bit on my eyelid. Moving along here, we're gonna go in with some concealer. This is the Milk Makeup Future Fluid All Over Cream Concealer in the shade 3N. I picked this up at Sephora a few months ago and I really, really love it, you guys. Great coverage. It's like my perfect shade. So I'm not complaining there. I'm gonna do a little bit of highlighting over here. On my chin. I'm gonna go in and blend my concealer with this brush that is from Beauty For Real. I could just use my sponge, but sometimes I like to use brushes. Sometimes I like my sponge. It just depends on the day. Next thing we are going to do in this tutorial of sorts is set my face with my powder. This is the Urban Decay Velvetizer Translucent Powder. So I'm going to take a little bit, tap some onto my lid. I will take my beauty sponge and tap that in, press it in, and do the same thing on the other side. We're gonna go in with the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil. This is another translucent powder, but I thought it would be really pretty to put all over the face. I probably did a little too much, but I can tap off the excess. I'm using my Aveda Kabuki brush to go a little bit all over. I think this will definitely help with the glowy factor. Next up we are gonna do in this bombshell routine is, of course, contour. So I'm gonna go in with my e.l.f. Halo Glow Beauty Wand, and this is Fair Light. I'm gonna go in that 3 motion, sucking in my cheekbones, and then on the sides, my forehead. I have been experimenting for the last like year, maybe year and a half with nose contouring. So what I typically do is I start by going at the side of my nose, kind of like giving it some definition. And then I fill it in right here, And then I kind of go on top. I go in also like in between my eyelids. I take that same concealer brush I used earlier and just blend in my nose contour, blend it into my eyelids and the rest of my nose. Another reason I wanted to do this tutorial is because I've had quite a few people in my life in the past tell me how much I look like a model or I remind them of a model. So I am very flattered. Specifically, one person called me Miss Model a couple years ago, and I was like, that was the biggest compliment ever. The second part to our contouring is going to be a little bit of bronzer. So this is the Bare Minerals bronzer in Kiss of Spice. This has been my favorite since I got it. I'm going to go in with this interesting little bronzer brush. I've always used this for bronzer, so I'll go in. So I'm going to go in and start blending in this bronzer. I'm going to go in the same areas that I did my lighter contour, just because it's summer and I just want a little bit more bronzy glow. Moving along here, the next step in this routine would be blush, of course. So I did hear that I think like one of the expert makeup artists at Victoria's Secret like gave away their secret to that like blush, and turns out they use red blush. So I'm gonna go in with this Ilia multi-stick in the shade Dear Ruby. Funny story with that name. So fun fact about me, when I was a kid, I really loved the show Max and Ruby. You know, the one show, the kid show with the two bunnies that are a cartoon. So Max and Ruby, I loved watching that show as a kid, and I don't know if it was really fate or it was just like a coincidence, but I had two pets in my childhood that were literally like named after those characters and I didn't even know it. When I was 6, my mom surprised me with this Brittany Spaniel puppy who I named Max. He was so fun and lovable and sweet, and I loved playing with him. We didn't keep him for very long because I remember at that point he went to California. I just hope that he had a great life, you know, out there. Then as far as the other pet I had, and when I was a freshman in high school, I had this Yorkie poo for like maybe a week or two. She was so cute. She was all black. I named her Ruby, and she was the cutest thing ever. I didn't end up keeping her because I just had a lot going on in my personal life at the time, so I just couldn't give my energy to taking care of the dog. The next step in this makeup look is, of course, highlighter. So I'm going to go in with the Rare Beauty Liquid Luminizer Mesmerize. This is really gorgeous. I'm just going in with my fingertips and blending that a little bit. Sometimes I like to do like my wrist and I'll blend it in a little bit more. The next step in this routine is, of course, eyebrows. So I'm going to go in with a new favorite pencil of mine. This is the Kosas Brow Pop pencil, and I wear the shade Taupe. So I'm going to go in and just lightly define like on the bottom of my brow, and then go outwards, like towards the tail, and then my high points. Sometimes I'll go in and fill in like the sparse areas. Another step in my brow routine, of course, is the pomade. So I'm gonna go in with the Anastasia Dip Brow. I wear blonde, so I'm gonna take my angle brush and ever so slightly just, you know, just accentuate the tail and, you know, the high points very, very gently. Because of course, you know, I want it to look natural as I can. To top it off, we're gonna do some brow gel. I'm using this travel size, very sample size version of Benefit Precisely My Brow Wax. I think this is the shade 3. This is a little tinted gel, so I love it. Just running it through. Just kind of flick. Now the next step in recreating this look that's just so essential is the eyeshadow. So I'm going to go in with this Glossier Monochromes eyeshadow trio, and this is in the shade Jute. These really gorgeous glittery shades. I'm obsessed. So I'm gonna start in and go with this taupe shade. Use this double-ended brush most of the time when I'm doing like my base shade. So I'm gonna go in with this beige, this matte, and glide it all over. Next step in this recreating this bombshell look is, of course, the fun glitters. So I'm gonna start and get a little definition to my crease by using this bottom shade. I'm gonna go in with this brush. This is from Shayna B. It's like kind of accent, just kind of like packing that in my crease. I think that has really made a huge difference so far. I really love this palette. The next shade we're gonna go in, of course, is this fun glittery one over here. So I'm gonna take my fingertip and just do that like all over my lower lid, and then kind of work my way up the crease. Really, when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about like Doots and Crows and how she has that really like frosty eyelid. So I'm doing my best to recreate that in my own way. Oh my gosh, that is really the icing on the cake. Then we are going in with another like champagne-y gold shade, Dreams by Lucky Chick palette, and I'm using this shade up here, which is called Hopeful. Do a little bit on my inner corner, kind of blending this together. The next step in this routine, which I think is really essential to creating the look, is eyeliner. So I'm gonna go in with this Maybelline Master Precise liquid eyeliner. I'm gonna start by going as close to the lash line as I possibly can. When it gets to this point, I start to like draw my wing. It's a little challenging. I'm gonna need my mirror for a sec while I do this, but so you guys can see. Typically, when I'm doing my eyeliner these days, I will kind of make the wing a little bit more flat, because when I did it upwards in the past, you could barely see the line, or I mean the wing. So I'm doing that to kind of connect everything. All right, so now that the hard part is done, eyeliner is always the hard part for me because I'm a perfectionist and I just want it to look super streamlined. So next step in our routine is, of course, mascara. I just got this one pretty recently. This is the Maybelline Lash Sensational Firework Mascara. I love it so far. I was a big fan of the Sky High, but I really love the length and volume this mascara gives. So much better in my opinion. So then I'm gonna go in on the bottom lashes. Moving along, the next step in recreating this look, we are gonna go in with some lip liner. I love the Tower 28 one liner. I have a couple shades that I really love, so I'm really torn about which one I'm gonna go with. I am actually gonna go with this one. The shade Fill Me In is definitely my signature one. So I'm gonna start by lining my bottom. I think my key with doing lip liner, I feel like a lot of people go or overboard with it and they go like outside the natural lip line. I'm using this side to kind of fill in. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Start at the top and following that natural lip line. I like to fill in my Cupid's bow. I don't know why, it just hasn't been my most favorite part of my lips. The next step in our routine is, of course, a good lip color. So I'm gonna go in with the NARS Afterglow Lip Balm with Fast Lane. It's definitely one of my favorite lip colors of all time. For me, it's been a perfect shade to wear on date night. And then the second to last step is, of course, a good lip gloss. I am using this one I just got. This is the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm in Birthday Cake. It's really, really gorgeous on its own or on top of a lip color. Second to last step would be curling my lashes. And then the final step of this look is, of course, a good setting spray. And that is the finished makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, if you have any suggestions for future content ideas, I would love to hear your feedback down in the comments below. And until next time, stay sassy. Sending you all love and light.